Hi, everybody. It's Jackie Schwab back with the Press Play Lifestyle Inspired podcast, where we do interviews with people like my good friend Carolyn here on topics to help our listeners, that's you, find the resources, tools, and support they need to be their best inspired selves. Hi, Carolyn.
Hello, hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. We've had little to no winter in the Bay Area. That's where I am. It's been sunny, but now it's kind of foggy and cloudy. It's nice. I know.
Yeah, a little bit of a change. Yeah, it's actually crazy beautiful here in sunny
Oh, good.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
We are above 30 degrees. So I'm in,
right.
yeah, it's like a sauna. I don't know if I can handle all the heat. But I'm having a nice energy day because I'm really missing just a little natural light. I didn't know I needed it, but when it comes back, I'm like,
yeah, for sure.
Sounds good. So I'm so thankful. I know you have tons of things going on and lots of programs and lots of jobs and lots of work. So thank you for taking the time to spend with me today. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm honored. This is a fun time. I've enjoyed work or like seeing you in our calls and also just your vibe and energy. So it just made sense.
That's so nice. So I do know a lot about you, but our audience doesn't. So would you mind telling people a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah. Well, my name is Carolyn, as you already said. My business name is Carolyn Healings. That's not actually my last name yet. I've kind of played with maybe changing it, but it just came to me in a meditation a few years ago, and it made sense to have my business name that. And it actually came from me discovering my inner healer, and so it was like Carolyn's Healings, and I saw it as being everybody I work with, their healings. I've actually never spoken that out loud, and so right now it came out organically, so that's cool. That's supposed to say, but I don't advertise that, but that's the intention, like deeper energy behind my business name. I primarily work with empaths who struggle with heightened sensitivities as a burden, and how to discover that and shift that into actually a superpower so that they can live as their empowered, authentic empath self.
Oh, yeah. I love that. So sort of reframing the burden
right
to their superpower.
Yeah.
Which is really crazy, right? That not empathy related, but I was always told as a kid that I talk too much. It's probably true a little bit. My dad actually used to call me mouth or brat, were his two favorite things to say. And it got like to the point where like I didn't want to talk because anytime I talked, I was just waiting for the, oh my gosh, you're talking all the time. But then, this thing called podcasts where you get to talk came up. And so when I got like kind of looked at that, like, wow, I just naturally, it's easy for me to have conversations about nothing. And or keep conversations going that have died,
Yeah.
And like, hey, this thing that my whole life I've been told you're too much is just enough.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Most empaths are told they're too sensitive, or there was a part of them as a child that maybe felt something, tried to share it with the parent, but the parent shut it down, or culture shut it down, conditioning beliefs shut it down. And so then what we end up putting in little tiny boxes inside of ourselves that go to sleep, but then there's just this constant stirring of it. And what happens often is that empaths end up going through a spiritual awakening, like something they wake up one day and they're like, oh shit. Oh, I don't know if I can swear on this, but it just did.
You can kind of swear if you need to swear.
Oh shit, like, where have I been? I've been asleep for so long. And realizing like they have not been living their truth, they have not been living their way. And there's also such a huge range of a spectrum of empaths. I know everybody has little pieces of it. It's just a matter of what is your superpower, what is your burden that we can shift into a superpower too.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. So on the sensitive thing, I think girls probably don't get picked on as much as boys would. about being like really extra sensitive.
Mm.
But I'm a really big tomboy. Like I always was outside and playing, but I will cry at the drop of a hat. Like
Mhm.
I cry at tissue commercials because they're just so sweet. And it's always been one of those things too, where my family is like, oh my God, you cry over everything.
Mhm.
I'm like, well, it's touching though. Like, my thought was always like, why aren't you? Is everyone so, like,
Totally.
aren't you sad? Why aren't you sad? Like, the puppy got ran over by a car. This is devastating to me, right? And
Right.
they're like, it's just a TV show. Uh, but but it was in my head and it was so sad and the puppy was so cute. So it was another one of those things that growing up, it was, you talk too much,
Mhm.
you're too sensitive. It's just TV. That person didn't mean to hurt your feelings, but they did, right? But they do. And
Yeah.
I
And
think
there's
that's fun.
definitely like a balance between boys get it one way, girls get it another way. Girls are shown like, what, you're crying, like it's more like pointed out, and it's all based off of protection. So like parents, their ego's usually running the show. Their ego or their inner child's usually running the show, and they want to protect their child from whatever, to live in this box. Because what happens is that when you actually become your true authentic self, your ego is no longer running the show. Your ego gets let go, and then you can just be your spirit self, your authentic self, and whatever that looks like to you. The goal really of you being in this world, in this earth, is to find that truth and that authenticity. Culture and conditioning shapes us so much to conform, but then everybody's living like cows at the field. I'm an
Right.
Aquarius, like super Aquarius. I'm totally against conforming.
I
It is totally my purpose to be my authentic self and to help others find
like,
that.
that's my job. I got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that makes sense. So even in general, I love that the example you brought up over parents, um like when you're in a store and a kid is being really naughty and the
What
parent,
does
like,
that mean?
well, it means something. The example will change what that means.
Yeah, okay.
You're in a store and someone's child is in distress,
Okay.
right? They're sad or they're crying or they're yelling or they're whatever.
Okay.
And often what you see is the parent like, stop it, stop it, stop being sad, stop being loud. I don't want and what they're saying is, I don't want other people looking at me thinking that I'm being a bad parent.
Yep.
And I think what I shifted with that perspective was, I have a daughter with special needs. So I have 4 kids. And my 8-year-old is very sensitive to input because she's on the autism spectrum. And she's just super aware, like she's
Mhm.
crazy bright, super
Yeah.
smart,
Yeah.
interesting human.
She's a higher human,
Yeah,
really.
we literally all say in the house that we all know Zoe's smarter than us because we have no idea what she's talking about, but we're
Yeah.
positive she's right. Um,
Totally.
so she would be in a store and like people would be loud and people would be, just it's a store. There's other humans in the store, and she would cry.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, and I knew why, because I knew her. And all of a sudden I realized, I was like, oh, all those other kids are just like her. Oh, I might cry. This is weird.
Yeah.
She's just really overwhelmed
Mhm.
and she's in pain. Like it's too
Mhm.
much sound, it's too much light. It's like a migraine on crack. And once I sort of saw that perspective for her,
Mhm.
my perspective I had a bigger view of it. And now when I see some little person who's in distress,
Yep.
I always check in with the mom, like, are you okay? Can I support you?
Yeah.
Because both of them are now
Yep.
in a distress, and sometimes you can't make them baby stop crying. They're just
Yeah.
in a place that they
Right.
need to, whatever it is, that's the only way
Right.
they can be vocal.
Emotions are intense, and adults don't know how to fucking do anything with them. And so
Right.
when their child does, it's all about, with working with kids, it's all about um, teaching them how to self-soothe. So teaching them that whatever emotions are coming up are okay. So if you are told like, no, you can't have that, then it's like, oh, can I have any emotions? Like, what?
Yeah.
It's all about holding space for that emotion and teaching them how to self-soothe that emotion. And that's a lot of the stuff that wasn't learned and taught that I help my empaths with, on how to self-soothe. A lot of empaths have anxiety, so how to be okay with that anxiety when it comes up, how to hold space for that, how to care and nurture for yourself, and retraining your brain and yourself to not to be you instead of be what somebody told you to be, which is to not cry or to not have emotions, right?
Don't do those things. And
Right.
I love that, because I think another thing you touched on was, it's not like someone taught us differently. So,
Right.
I was always told, shh, shh,
Yeah.
adults
Yeah.
are in the room, be seen and not
Yeah.
heard. Like
Adults are
that,
right.
right?
Always.
Adults are right, parents are wrong. And so I know I have to work at it. Apparently I'm good at it. My kids tell me sometimes, but um, I don't tell them how they're supposed to feel.
Mm.
What I try to do is say, how can I support you in what you're feeling?
Yeah.
And that it is okay to cry. I always just say crying is just your body having so much inside it that it just needed to come out. And so it
Yeah.
comes out through tears.
That's it. That is what it is.
Right. It's just like a body explosion.
Yeah. That's
Emotion.
great that you asked them how you can support them, because so many people don't actually know. Adults don't actually know a lot of times what they actually need. They just know they're like having a reaction, and a lot of it has to do from like a former trauma response, and they're still living it out and being played out.
Yeah,
I had a therapist really help me with saying what I need and being able to be clear and speak what I need, because so many of us literally have no idea. We just know what is happening right now is not what we want, but we don't actually
this is
know.
not okay. What do you want? I don't know.
So yeah,
That sounds like a conversation I have. I have a 14-year-old, and I'm like, her nickname is Nanner. So I'm like, Nanner, like, what do you need? I don't know.
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
like,
that age.
honey, I don't know either.
That's okay
That's just
too.
part of being us.
Yeah,
Do you need a hug? No, get away from me. Okay,
yeah,
back when you're ready.
yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, but I've been trying stuff, right? Because I don't know. I was not raised. It was not okay to be weak. It was not okay to ask for help. It was not okay to point out your family wasn't perfect. There's a lot of the not okays, and so I work on it. But one day my son is super hyper, one of my kiddos, like bouncing off the walls. Ding, 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 ding. And I was like, buddy, I'm going to go meditate. Would you like to try? And he's like, yeah, that sounds cool. Let's go do that. We go upstairs. We put out the meditation cushions, which he's thrilled about because there's a special cushion. He's 10. It's super exciting. We sit down. I close my eyes. I didn't even literally get through an entire body scan before he was like, that was good. I'm totally calm now. See you later.
That's all they need sometimes, just to hold that space for it. Yeah.
And he came back later and he was like, that was cool, Mom. I totally dig that. And I was like, all right. I'm pretty sure he didn't calm totally down, but he did stop climbing my walls, literally. Spider Max, we call him. His name's Max. But yeah, so it was fun. Yeah. So could you tell us a little bit about, so as someone who's helping out people in that area, like how did you get to doing this work? Like, sounds like you're kind of called, but was there a trigger event or something in your life that sort of landed you here?
I would say I've been doing this my whole life, but it definitely was something that happened that then like kind of took me out. I was a competitive volleyball player in high school, very competitive volleyball player. Was on path to go play D1. Like, I feel weird saying that because I was actually injured before that was happening, but my coaches told me that, so I'll accept that and say that, yes. And I got injured like right before the college, whatever that's called, has started happening. And I went into like a deep depression. Like, it was volleyball was like what I had. And I was also injured. I actually had to hold my hand like this for, I don't even know how long. I was on 5 Vicodins a day for about 2 weeks because of the amount of pain I was in. And it was also something that doctors couldn't just diagnose. And so it was weird. So similar, think like fibromyalgia, if you know what that is. It's very similar to that. I was really hot. My mom couldn't even touch me or like hug me because it hurt any like little tiny touches. I had to learn how to write with my left hand, eat. I was like a zombie as well. And from there, I also saw like an insane amount of doctors, x-rays, MRIs, all that stuff. From there, I think I was put on an antidepressant that was supposed to be an anti-inflammatory. I was also on steroids at one point too. I remember I had a bunch of weird rashes on my chest because of the medications right before prom. So the antidepressant was supposed to help me with my anti-inflammatory. I don't know if it did. I was super depressed. I don't know if it actually helped with that. And I actually had put myself to see a counselor. I was also at a pain management place. It's all kind of foggy because it was such a weird state. And so that was around 17. And so from 17 till about 18, the next volleyball season was really intense. I felt like I lost all my friends. It was kind of just like being me. And then I ended up going into things that my mind, my body, myself knew I could use as a resource to help with this pain. So things like smoking weed, alcohol. It was a way to not deal with the pain. So I've worked with a therapist to help see this time as a non-shamed time, because if I shame myself from doing those things, that was what my body saw was necessary to like a resource for me. It really helps hold that space. So that's also an offering for you. If there was a time where you were doing drugs, that was a resource for you. There was something going on in your life that you needed, that your body knew that was something you needed, whatever.
Yeah. I try to hold space for the fact that we're all doing the absolute best that we can with the tools we have at that moment. And
totally.
if you want to change, hopefully someone resources us with new options.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, went to college, kind of still doing my thing. I was in a constant state of pain. I would say about scale 1 to 10, I was around 4, 3 to 4, kind of every day. It was hard to sleep on my right side. I then, after college, started working a job. Like this is a whole 10-year time period of my life. I stopped the antidepressants sometime in college, and I just was taking ibuprofen and whatnot. And at the job that I was at, I found myself like really into it, giving so much. It was a nonprofit. I loved what I did. I was working with kids. I was outside. It was also super, super draining, and also didn't really get paid a whole lot for the amount of work and effort I put into it. That shifted to a desk job at the same nonprofit. And I started getting panic attacks, anxiety attacks. I felt the weight of the world on me. There was like police shootings after police shootings, like every couple of months. This was around 2013-ish, 14, 15, 16. And it felt like my children were literally being murdered. And I didn't understand like how to cope with that, how to manage that. The people at work, I felt I could always feel them. I had no idea, but I knew like my boss was having trouble sleeping. Like I knew things about people that I didn't, but I thought everybody knew things about people. I just thought everyone knew and everyone was empathetic about that. I didn't know that was unique to me. And one day after consistent panic attacks, I woke up and was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to quit. And I quit. I had a partner that was really supportive. It was kind of the first person that asked me about my injury, about myself. And I met him about a year prior to that. And that was almost 10 years after my actual injury. So someone that really just like wanted to get to know me deeper than what I was showing. I felt like before that I was just living in this like zombie like world, and I was just a zombie. And that led to some things here and there. And then I had a spiritual awakening, which was really intense, which was about an 8-hour long day of seeing signs, seeing I was presenting myself outwardly as like a child. I could only speak like a child would speak, but inwardly I was fully aware of what was going on, but I was it was like a way of protecting of stuff coming up. There was memories flooding and flowing. It was very intense. I was with my partner at the time, and he got overwhelmed. He did his best to hold that space. Ended up reaching out to my parents. I have a history of mental illness in my family. I personally have a background. I have a psychology degree and had a great teacher help me destigmatize mental illness and really hold that space. I knew I was not going through a psychosis. And so when my partner told me that my parents were coming, because he was like, I don't really know how to support you or how to help you, I kind of went into a panic because I knew their thoughts on mental illness. And I remember he just said to me, he's like, Carolyn, you're a grown woman. You do not have to do anything you don't want to do. And it was kind of like,
oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Right. Cool. He was like, I just don't know how to help you right now, and I'm scared and I want some support. Okay. And I remember when my parents came, I actually was holding his hand. Like I was like a child. I was straight like a child. And they were asking me questions. I had so much fear to answer and how to speak to them, because I had been almost playing a role in my life with my parents that was not my truth. And I didn't know how to show them my truth. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I remember holding my partner's hand. They would ask me questions and I would just look at him and be like, you know the truth. Can you speak for me, please? And I was basically like sending things to him. And so, yeah, that was the spiritual awakening that happened. That led me to a somatic therapist who helped, she was so amazing, helped me identify that as a spiritual awakening. She then also introduced me to Moon Circles and Women Who Run with the Wolves, which is an amazing book by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. I attended some Moon Circles, started massage therapy school, which led me to get really into the Eastern modality. I have a background in sports, so I thought I was going to do like sports massage, Western stuff. No, love the Eastern stuff. It makes way more sense, which is like chakras, energy work. I then started leading Moon Circles because I'm also here to facilitate and support community space and hold a bigger safe space for people. Yeah. So that's all that.
Yeah, that's all that in a nutshell. Just sum that right up. Wow, that's crazy. So, so how is the pain now?
It's completely gone. Like so I'm also a physical empath and an emotional empath. So a physical empath feels other people's pain. So I remember throughout my life, my childhood, I would just get random pains and no one would know what they were or from. I got like x-rays on things and they'd be like, no, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So I can actually feel people's physical pains. And sometimes people's pain actually comes from emotion getting stuck in the body. And so I have other things in my body going on, but that's just for me to
Figure out.
know oh, there's something there that I need to care for. Oh, what is this telling me? So it was called thoracic outlet syndrome is what I was eventually diagnosed as. I do not have that anymore. Yeah.
Oh, well, great. Yeah. So it's a great story.
Yeah.
So now with all of this amazingness of you and that all that you've been through and kind of your mess into your mastery, how do you support other people now? Like how can they get a hold of you, or if they need support, where would they go?
Yeah. So I actually have a good amount of different ways. So I do one-on-one coaching. I do offer group coaching. My group right now is ending soon and I'll be doing another one in the fall. I also do online offerings. This is actually a new offering. I used to do Moon Circles in person. I just started now holding an offering online, which is basically similar to this over a Zoom video. There's 5 to 8 people there. I guide you through meditation. We do journal prompts. We share, discuss, do some releasing, learn some tools. And that's available to everyone over the world, which is so cool. The last one I had, someone from Canada was there. It was great. And so the online offering and then in-person offerings I have. And I also am now opening to a single 90-minute intensive call. So yeah, I was finding that working people were in need to work with me, but that the longer commitment, sometimes the price isn't right now, and sometimes the time isn't right. And so to just do a 90-minute offering intensive, you're able to clear some stuff and maybe open some new doors and new space so that you can still do
Yeah,
the
that
work.
makes sense, right? Especially if someone, if you said a lot of empathic folks have a lot of anxiety, and so like saying, "Hey, can you give me like 50 grand or whatever?" They're like, "Oh, no,"
Right,
and now my anxiety is really bad, right?
right, right.
That's,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not a helpful. That is
Mhm.
helpful.
Mhm.
And so all they can find out about all of that at carolinshealings.com.
Yeah, carolynhealings.com. It should be on there. My website is fun. Um,
It's fun.
yeah, I'm working on improving it, but my social media is probably best at Carolyn Healings, Instagram. My website for sure, but
You're a big IG girl, huh?
I am,
I
yeah,
got you. IG.
millennial thing.
Millennial. Are you a millennial?
I am
I'm not.
1990.
I'm
Yeah,
77, 1977. It's a good
really?
year. Yeah. I'm in my fourth.
When's your birthday?
May 7th, 77.
Okay,
5777.
I just had this sense that you were a 777. That's crazy.
777. Yeah.
I just had spoke with a woman, um, a client who's her birthday is 7/7/77, and somebody
Wow.
was like, "You are also a 777."
Yeah, I have a stepsister who's also May 7th. So it was very odd when our families came together.
Did we talk about numerology
I think
last
we
time?
did, yeah,
Yeah.
briefly. We have in the past, yeah. So other folks, numerology seems to be a Carolyn key as well.
Yeah, it's just it's a fun thing. Numerology, astrology, they're all just pieces to help you know your true self and who
Yeah,
you
just
are and what
tools, right?
your purpose. Yeah, they're tools. I don't know. I know numerology for myself, and that's what has helped me understand who I am.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. And I had a great time. I enjoyed our conversation. And I look forward to maybe we'll bring you back when you do your next new fun thing.
Would love that. This was
Thank
such a
you.
joy. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
We'll see you soon. Bye,
Yeah,
Carolyn.
I like to do this little sign off. It's on
Sure.
my shirt, but I say, I hope you have peace for your mind, love for your body, and strength for your soul.
Oh, namaste. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.